Hey everyone, and welcome back to Diablo Flamenco. In this video we're going to discuss my top 5 flamenco palos that I think you have to learn in order to have a good understanding of flamenco guitar and its techniques. And some people might disagree with my picks, but let's dive right into it and start with my number 5 pick. My number 5 pick is Sevillanas. Some viewers might disagree with this number 5 pick because a lot of people consider Sevillanas as Spanish folkloric music and not necessarily a part of flamenco. But as flamenco guitarists, we tend to learn Sevillanas all the time because of how popular of a dance this is. And that's the reason why it's on this list. If you go to a flamenco dance school, a lot of times they will do Sevillanas as it is the structured dance and it's very easy to follow. And that's why it's so popular in Spain. So why you should learn it is, if you learn Sevillanas, you can already accompany baile on the guitar. You just need to find a group of dancers and keep the tempo consistent and steady to keep that pulse for the dance. But there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Like I said, it's structured, and a lot of times it's going between basic chords of rasgueados and melodic lines, as you saw from my demonstration. So it's a nice technical development as well, having to do rasgueados and then some melody, and then some rasgueados and then some melody. It's good to jump between these techniques. So that is my number 5 pick. My number 4 pick is Alegrias. Alegrias is one of the most popular styles of flamenco, and that is why it is on this list. The Alegria uses the 12-beat compás that is very famous to flamenco, and it is in a major key, unlike a lot of flamenco that is in a Phrygian mode. So that's what makes it quite different in sound. That sounds a little more popish as well. The Alegria is one of the biggest dance styles in flamenco, and that is why it is on this list. While it is one of the more advanced styles of dance because of how many parts there are, it is very popular to dance and to sing, and it is important for the guitarist to learn the different parts in order to accompany the cante and baile. And that is my number 4 pick. My number 3 pick is Tangos. Tangos is one of the most popular styles of flamenco today, and although it is in a 4/4 time, it is one of the grooviest styles as well. Very popular on the guitar, and it is also a great introduction to learning how to accompany the cante as well. And it is in the por medio key, going between the A and the B flat, which is one of the most popular keys in flamenco. So this is also a nice introduction to learning this key in a simpler way of doing it in a 4 count versus trying to learn a Cejilla, for example, that's in a 12. That might be a little more confusing to count for the beginner student. So tango is actually one of the first palos that I teach my private students as well. And that is my number 3 pick. My number 2 pick, which will surprise a lot of viewers, is Bulerias. think I'd put Bulerias as number 1, but I do have a palo that I believe is much more important to study than Bulerias. Bulerias is, however, the most popular flamenco style these days, due to its speed, virtuosity, key, and its popularity for family gatherings and parties in Spain because it's meant to be very groovy. It's that Porta Fiesta feel where everyone takes turns playing Bulerias and having a good time. Bulerias is great for technical abilities and understanding compás. Because of how groovy it can be, you have to have a good grasp on compás in order to play it very well. But, however, it is difficult for new students, and it does take a good amount of time in order to understand it properly. So that's why it's not my number 1, but I highly recommend everyone learn Bulerias, and it is the style that everyone wants to play on the flamenco guitar. And lastly, my number 1 pick is Solea. There is a reason why Solea is defined as the mother of the Palos, and it's not because it was one of the first. Technically, Cejilla came before the Solea. However, it is one of the first styles that we learn as flamenco guitarists, if not the first. And the reason why it's so important is it develops the 12-beat compás. It's a slow palo, so we get used to it very quickly, versus trying to learn a Bulerias when you're a brand new guitarist and struggling with the speed. Solea allows you to focus on the technical abilities in the compás while staying at a slow speed. It is one of the most popular styles in Spain, and being cantajondo, it's very respected as well. Versus a Bulerias, which definitely is still respected due to its virtuosity. I think a lot of Spaniards would agree they would rather listen to a Solea than a Bulerias in terms of really respecting the art of flamenco, especially if you play these styles very well. You will always come back to Solea, even though it's one of the first things you learn as a flamenco guitarist, either me as a private student or any other teacher you might study with. You will always come back to Solea due to how important it is. It's a great one to accompany cante. The cante isn't that difficult to understand versus a lot of others like Bulerias or Cejilla, for example. It allows us to focus on technical abilities without being so overwhelmed. But it doesn't mean that Solea is boring by any means. It's actually a very beautiful style as you advance in the art of flamenco. And that is my number 1 pick. And that's all I'll give you for this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing these different palos, even if it's just for a short little snippet. I do have full performances of a few of these palos. I do have some Alegrias, Tango, and Solea as full performances on my channel. And soon I hope to bring you guys a Bulerias and some Sevillanas as well. But to me, these 5 are the key to really understanding flamenco, even though there's dozens of other palos out there, and some of them might be a little bit more interesting. But in terms of really understanding flamenco, these 5 I would stick to. I would learn Solea and Tangos first, if anything. And then Sevillanas, Alegrias, and then finally Bulerias if I had to pick a progression of these 5 palos or styles. And I will see you in the next class. I will be posting solos quite soon as I am putting together some materials. And let me know down below what your favorite palo is in flamenco and why. Or if you have a favorite artist playing these palos, go ahead and write down below. I would love to read your opinions as well. And I will see you next time. Hasta luego.